Very good morning, cadets. Hope you are doing well. We are in the second week of online classes. I am in chapter number 2 from the history, that is from trade to territory. Those cadets who missed my previous video class, please go through the YouTube channel and watch all those video classes. In the last video session, we studied about Anglo-Mysore Wars. In Anglo-Mysore Wars, we studied about first Anglo, second, third and fourth Anglo-Mysore War, and how Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan tried their level best to defend Mysore for a very long time. It's only after death of Tipu Sultan, that is in the year 1799, Mysore went under the control of British East India Company. And once the Mysore went under the control of British East India Company, Wadairs were forced to sign subsidiary alliance system, which we studied in detail in previous video. After defeat or after capturing Mysore, now the British target was Marathas. So in today's class, let us study about British war with Marathas. That is what? War with Marathas. In the late 18th century, the British East India Company also sought to curb eventually and destroy the Maratha power. The defeat of Marathas in the third battle of Panipat. We studied about Battle of Panipat, the first, second and third battle of Panipat. First and second battle of Panipat we studied in class 7th. First and second battle of Panipat are related to Mughal dynasty, but the third battle of Panipat, that is in the year 1761, it is not between Mughals, it is Marathas and an invader called Ahmad Shah Abdali. So, third battle of Panipat, Maratha confederacy was completely destroyed by Ahmad Shah Abdali in the third battle of Panipat. Year is 1761. So, with the defeat of Marathas in the third battle of Panipat, the Marathas' dream of ruling Delhi was, of course, shattered. And after that, the Marathas were divided into 5 different chiefs. So please write down that is the 5 different Maratha chief confederacy, that is Scindias. Scindias, of course, of Gwalior, Scindias, Holkar, Gaikwad, Bhonsle and Peshwa. Okay. So Marathas, they after third battle of Panipat, or even prior to that, after death of Chhatrapati Shivaji, in Maratha kingdom, Peshwas started gaining more power. Peshwas, they were the ministers. So after the third battle of Panipat, that is in the year 1761, Maratha kingdom was divided into 5 chieftains, that is Scindias, Holkar, Gaikwad, Bhonsle and Peshwa. So Peshwas, Scindia, Gaikwad, Holkar and Bhonsle. So the Maratha kingdom was divided into independent small chieftains. These chiefs were held together in a confederacy under Peshwas of Pune, who became its effective military and administrative head based on Pune. Scindias and Nana Padnavis, who were the famous Maratha soldiers and statesmen in the late 18th century. The Marathas were subdued in a series of wars. The first Anglo-Maratha war ended in the year 1782. Please write down the year. The first Anglo-Maratha war ended in the year 1782 with the Treaty of Salbai. Treaty means understanding, peace agreement. With the Treaty of Salbai, the first Anglo-Maratha war ended in the year 1782. The second Anglo-Maratha war fought between 1803 to 1805. So 1803 to 1805, second Anglo-Maratha war was fought on different fronts, resulting British gaining Orissa and territories of North Yamuna River, including Agra and Delhi. And finally, third Anglo-Maratha war. Third Anglo-Maratha was the final crushing of Maratha kingdom, that is in the year 1817 to 1819. So 1817 to 1819, the Maratha power totally was crushed or destroyed with the third Anglo-Maratha war. So please write down how many Maratha wars were fought. That is 3. Anglo-Maratha wars. Anglo-Maratha war 1, 1782. Anglo-Maratha war 1803 to 1805. Second Anglo-Maratha war. Third Anglo-Maratha war 1817 to 1819. Same way, please remember Anglo-Mysore wars also. The Peshwa was removed and sent away from Bittur near Kanpur with pension. The company had now complete control over territories of South Vindhyas. So, after defeat of Marathas completely in the third Anglo-Maratha war, complete the Maratha power or confederacy captured by the British East India Company. So here what we have to understand, British annexed, or the British East India Company annexed India one after another with a tactical policy. What is the tactical policy followed? Because they took the help of Marathas to defeat Tipu Sultan in the battle of Anglo-Mysore wars. That is what we studied. You see here, Tipu attacked, British East India Company attacked with the combined forces of Marathas, Nizam of Hyderabad. So British took the help of Marathas to defeat Tipu Sultan. Once Tipu Sultan was crushed to death or was defeated and killed in the year 1799, immediately the Marathas, of course, British crushed the Maratha with the Anglo-Mysore wars. So third Anglo-Mysore war, third Anglo-Maratha war completely end to the power of British East India Company. Now we have to understand, British captured several provinces through the various policies. One is Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar, Anglo-Mysore wars, Anglo-Maratha wars. Now we have to understand, British not only followed the battle, technique of battle to capture more and more territories in India, they also use certain tactics. Out of those tactics, we already studied about subsidiary alliance system. One more was doctrine of lapse. Now let us understand what is claim of paramountcy. It is clear from above that early 18th century the company persuaded an aggressive policy of territorial expansion under Lord Hastings, the Governor General from 1813 to 1823. A new policy of paramountcy was initiated. Now the company claimed that its authority was paramount or supreme. Hence, its power was greater than that of Indian states. In order to protect its interest, it was justified in annexing or threatening to annex any kingdom. In this view, continued to guide later British policies. Now, what is the entire paragraph explains? The paragraph explains that the British East India Company tried to introduce a policy called their supremacy. Means they wanted to explain to the Indians that they are supreme. Means they can introduce or follow any policy for what? To threaten or to annex, capture any Indian kingdom. I hope you are able to understand. British wanted to introduce such policy in which whatever their actions are justified. Means whatever they does, it is considered as correct. That is what their aim of introduction of claim of paramountcy. So in order to protect the interest, it was justified in annexing or threatening to annex any Indian kingdom. This view continued later in the policies of the British. So claim of paramountcy, please write down the time period of Lord Hastings. Lord Hastings, Governor General of India from 1813 to 1823. I repeat here, the company heads of British East India Company, they were called as Governor Generals in India. It was up to revolt of 1857. But after revolt of 1857, I explained you, British Queen directly controlled administration in India. That's why after 1857, the heads in India, they were called as viceroys. Prior to that, they were governor generals because they were all in all, or they were allowed to make policies in India, because prior to 1857, India was controlled by British East India Company, which was a private mercantile company, company. But after 1857, British Parliament directly controlled India. That's the reason why whoever represented British Queen in India, they were called as viceroys. Hope you understood the claim of paramountcy. The process, however, did not go unchallenged. For example, when British tried to annex the small kingdom of Kittur, very known to you people. Kittur, of course, Kittur Rani Chennamma, very known figure to the students who are from Karnataka area. Kittur Rani Chennamma, she rebelled against the British and she led an anti-British resistance. Now, why Kittur Rani Chennamma rebelled against British? Because British introduced a policy called doctrine of lapse. Now, what is called doctrine of lapse? According to the policy of doctrine of lapse, any Indian queen or king who don't have male child or a natural successor, heir, their kingdom will be annexed by the British. That is called doctrine of lapse. So Kittur Rani Chennamma resisted against this and she led an anti-British movement with the help of Sangolli Rayana. Kittur Rani Chennamma was arrested in the year 1824 and she died in the prison in the year 1829. But Sangolli Rayana, he carried his resistance even after death of Kittur Rani Chennamma, but he was also arrested by the British and he was hanged by the British in the year 1830. Of course, Sangolli Rayana's famous Kannada movies are there. So Kranti Veera, Sangolli Rayana, because very rebellious leader who really made all the effort to throw away British from India. So resistance from Karnataka, that is from Kittur Rani Chennamma and of course Sangolli Rayana. Why? Because of the doctrine of lapse. Doctrine of lapse. Please write down the time period, name and all those things. That Kittur Rani Chennamma led anti-British resistance movement. She was arrested in the year 1824 and she was in the prison and died in the year 1829. Even after death, of course, Sangolli Rayana continued even after arresting of Kittur Rani Chennamma, but he was also arrested by the British and was hanged to death by the British in 1830. After that, what happened? In late 1830s, East India Company now worried about Russia, because Russia's proximity towards Asia is, of course, towards India is more. So now the British East India felt that slowly Russia is trying to expand their territory in the border of Afghanistan. So by 1830, East India Company became worried about Russia and it imagined that Russia might expand across Asia and enter India from northwest. So because of this fear, the British now wanted to secure their control over northwest. What is the northwest here? That is the area near to Afghanistan. So the British East India Company fought a long war with Afghanistan between 1838 to 1842. Please write down. So British fought a long war in Afghanistan between the period of 1838 to 1842 and established direct company rule in Afghanistan. Sindh was taken over in 1843. Next in line was Punjab. So the presence of Maharaja Ranjit Singh held back the company after his death in 1839 through two prolonged war fought with the Sikh, and ultimately Punjab was annexed in the year 1849. So please write down. So British now captured Sindh. They also captured Punjab after death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh in the year 1849. So with this, what happened? British captured almost entire India. Now try to recall which are the territories captured by British, starting from Battle of Plassey. So British won the Battle of Plassey. Later, Battle of Buxar. Then of course Anglo-Mysore Wars. How many Anglo-Mysore Wars were fought? 4 Anglo-Mysore Wars were fought. Then 3 Anglo-Maratha Wars and prolonged war in the area of Afghanistan up to 1843, and finally they annexed Punjab in 1848. 1849. So thus British annexed almost entire India by 1849. 1849, the British East India Company captured almost India, not only India, including present day area of Afghanistan. So such a huge area was under the control of British East India Company. So cadets, I request you, please write down the dates of all the wars starting from Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar, Anglo-Mysore Wars, Anglo-Maratha Wars, war with British and war in Afghanistan, Anglo-Sikh Wars, all the wars and leaders who are involved like Sirajud-Dowla, Nawab of Awadh, Nawab of Bengal in the Battle of Buxar. Like that, whatever available, please write down, because that's very important to remembering few facts. In history, remembering the facts, that means related to date, is very important to write in the examination, because you cannot simply write that Battle of Plassey was fought between this so and so, but where you should know the names as well as year. That makes your answer is more accurate. So that's the reason I am requesting, please write down all important dates. Take care. I'll see you in the next video lesson. Thank you.